All right, team, listen up. Lorosha, the clock's ticking. We've got a critical signal coming out of the Asian close. We're talking about the KSP decoupling and what I'm flagging as the Bessent Pivot.
So the Korean market just wrapped, and wow, it printed an all-time high. You're seeing a sea of green, right? Looks like a classic risk-on signal. But you gotta look closer, because the biggest player in that market, the command ship of the whole fleet, was actually getting left behind.
Okay, so let's cut right to it. Answer first. You need to ignore Samsung's flat close. The fact that the index hit a record high without its biggest player tells you everything you need to know. The smart money, it wasn't buying the giant. It was flowing deep into the supply chain, into those strategic tech partners. And that is the puzzle we need to solve for tonight's US Open. So you gotta ask, what was the trigger here? It wasn't some blockbuster earnings report, and it wasn't a fancy new product. Nope. This was all kicked off by a single verbal intervention. Let's dig into this primary catalyst, the Bessent Pivot, and figure out what it means for our game plan. So, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gets on the wire and basically says he's concerned about the weak Korean won. Now, for the rest of us, for global capital, that's not just talk. That is a starter pistol going off. It was a massive direct signal that the party for the super strong dollar might be over. And that changes the entire risk equation. Okay, to really get why this one comment is such a big deal, we have to talk about something called the equity risk premium, or ERP. Look, just think of it as danger pay. It's the extra cash investors demand for taking a risk on a stock instead of just parking their money in something super safe. And when you're talking about emerging markets, what's the number one danger? It's your currency getting absolutely hammered. That's the big one. All right, so we've got the trigger. Now let's get into the mechanics of this thing. How does one comment from one person completely reprice risk across an entire market, like instantly? And this is the chain reaction right here. It's a simple 1, 2, 3 punch. First, Bessent's words, they're like an insurance policy. All of a sudden, the risk of the Korean won collapsing just evaporates. Second, with less risk, investors don't need as much danger pay. That ERP we talked about shrinks. And then, boom, step 3. With a smaller risk premium, the value of everything gets a boost. The whole market re-rates higher, and get this, it happens without a single company earning an extra dollar. It's all about the macro repricing. Okay, so the macro picture is set. But where's the real expert insight? Where's the actionable signal in all this noise? That's when we execute the canary scan. We're hunting for that one hidden data point that proves the money is flowing exactly where we think it is. And here it is. This is the critical divergence that validates the whole idea. On one side, you've got Naver, a domestic AI software company. It got crushed because some local government project went bust. A totally local story, right? But on the other side, Hyundai Semiconductor, a crucial node in the global AI hardware supply chain. And what happened there? Major signal activation. You see the split? The market slammed the door on local promises, but rolled out the red carpet for tangible global tech. So why are we so focused on Hyundai? Well, it's all about these things. High bandwidth memory chips. The HBMs that come from giants like Samsung and SK Hynix, they're literally the fuel for the AI fire. Now, the big guys, they give you the scale, but it's their strategic partners, the ones who build the incredibly specialized gear to make the chips, they're the ones that signal the speed, the velocity of what's coming next. And this is what the Canary Protocol is all about. While the entire market was staring at the giants, this one small, bright green node just lit up the board. That, my friends, is the pure alpha signal. It's telling us that even while Samsung was flatlining, the orders for the global AI infrastructure build-out are picking up speed. This is our leading indicator for the US session. Okay, so now for the most important part. How do we translate this intel? We take the signal from the Asian close, and we turn it into an actionable plan for the US Open. All right, here's the playbook for the US session. 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 2 data points are going to hit, and we need to be ready. First up, jobless claims. If that number comes in above 215K, it means the labor market's cooling off. That's good for tech. Bullish. If it's below 215K, that's a no landing signal. The economy's too hot, which is bearish for tech. Then you've got the Philly Fed. If it's better than expected, watch for a quick rotation into industrials. If it's worse, recession fears creep back in. Remember, we don't guess, we react. Now listen, every plan needs a kill switch. And for us, the number one threat that blows this whole thing up is a spike in US Treasury yields. If we see the 10-year yield punch through 4.2%, this whole Bessent rally turns into a bull trap. It's a clear signal that the macro tide has turned against us.
And here's the line in the sand, 25,500 on the NASDAQ futures. That's our kill switch. If we see a clean break below that level, the signal is dead, we pull the plug. All leverage comes off the table immediately. No questions, no exceptions. Okay, let's recap the mission. Our watch list is tight. TSM and Nvidia for that direct semiconductor connection. We're also watching Goldman and BlackRock because they love global liquidity. The key metric to monitor is the dollar index. If it breaks its recent lows, that's our green light to increase exposure. And remember, the main lesson here, we are prioritizing hardware, the tangible stuff, not the software AI promises that haven't proven their ROI. That's the big takeaway from that Naver versus Hanmi split. So that's where we stand. The Bessent pivot has definitely unlocked the door for global capital. We're seeing this signal out of Asia loud and clear. The only question left is, will tonight's US data throw that door wide open, or will it slam it shut and trap everyone inside? We're about to find out. Stay sharp out there.